Hello everyone. Today we are going to explain how to use analog multimeter part 2. Today we have voltage measurements. We see this analog multimeter. We put the channel range on 10 volt. We have this power supply here. Okay. This is the volt, this is the ampere, and this is also the ampere. This power supply can support from 0.7 volt to 15 volt. We can see now how it's changing. Now the maximum range of this channel is 10 volt. It reaches to the maximum range. So to measure more than 15 volt, more than 10 volt, we must put the channel to the 50 volts. Now we slowly put the power supply to the maximum range. Okay, let's lower it to 0. We see how the channel analog meter how is acting and the digital multimeter how is acting. We put this digital multimeter on auto range DC volt. Now the maximum power supply is 13.9 volt, and here with this fluke multimeter is measuring 14.0 13.96, and here with the channel range on 50 volt is measuring this is the 10 1 2 3 4 5 minus little bit. So let's return to 10 volt. Now this is 10 volt, 9.9. Okay, let's put the power supply to 0 and again one more time to 10 volt. We try 2 times to see how is acting analog multimeter and the digital multimeter. One more time. One more time. Okay, now we put the power supply on 10 volt and we turn off the power supply from the main switch. Let's see how will act two multimeters. Now on, now off, now on. Okay, let's put this digital multimeter to manual range. Now off, on. Okay. Now let's try to measure ampere. Let's put the power supply on short circuit. That's meaning how much ampere we supply, the consumption will be the same. Now I put the ampere, I put this multimeter off, and this is also off, and the ampere is now 500 milliamp. That's meaning half amp. Let's put it on 1 amp. This is 1 amp. Exactly 1 amp. Okay. 995.7 1 amp. This is short circuit. That's meaning all the ampere will be taken from the power supply by short circuit. Let's try to measure amp with this multimeter. We put the range on ampere. Red plug in the ampere amp. Let's try now. It is 1 amp. So voltage drops from the 10 volt to 1.6 volt because it is short circuit. Let's try one more time. 1 amp. Let's try one more time. 1 amp. Okay. Now let's try same thing with analog multimeter. We put the analog multimeter on ampere and here is the ampere 500. Here with this channel you can measure here you can measure 500 milliamp or 10 amp. So the 10 amp should be here. 10 amp. Let's measure. 1 amp with analog multimeter. This is the 1 amp. It's showing on 1 and little bit more. Okay. Turn it off. One more time. Turn it off. One more time. Okay. Let's measure with analog multimeter 500 milliamp. Let's make it the power supply to the short circuit. Now I'm making it to a short circuit. I'm connecting the two leads together like this. Okay, let's lower the ampere to 500 milliamp. Oh, this is the volt. Let's lower the ampere. Ampere is 500 milliamp. And the volt, let's make it on 10 volt. Yes, 10 volt. 10 volt. Yes. And ampere 500 milliamp. Okay, 510 milliamp, 514 milliamp. Let's try with analog multimeter. Okay. Analog multimeter can measure just one polarity. It cannot measure two polarities. We put now the red plug in the 10 amp. We take it out. We put it in the 500 milliamp. This is 500 milliamp. We lower the ampere a little bit. Okay. 450, and it's showing here. It's showing full range because this accuracy of this multimeter is not so right like the digital multimeter. Let's try measure this with the digital multimeter. $437 milliamp. This is the most right measurement, because the accuracy of the fluke multimeter is the best one from all the measurements. Let's try to measure this amp with the milliamp. Okay, it can't measure because maximum milliamp is 400. This is 437 milliamp. Okay, don't forget to share this video.